Children, can you identify the image or picture given on the screen? Yes, this is a map of a city or town. Well, what about this picture? This picture also describes or represents a city. Among these two, which picture is more accurate? Picture 2 is more accurate than picture 1, isn't it? Why? Because all the things in picture 2 is more lifelike. All the buildings are in the same way as you can see on the ground. So, this is a 3D model of a city. What about picture 1? This picture also describes a city, but it is a two-dimensional picture. So, three-dimensional picture is on the right hand side. Two-dimensional picture is on the left hand side. Among these two, 3D model is more accurate and it is more lifelike. Well, this was about a city. Then what about our Earth? This is how our Earth looks from the outer face. That is, this is the lifelike representation of our planet Earth. Now, what we need to do if we want to see where America lies on the Earth, where is our country India on the Earth, do we have to go to space? No, it's not possible, correct? So, to understand the exact location of countries, oceans, etc., we have invented a model of the Earth. This 3D model of the Earth is called globe, and two-dimensional representation of our Earth is called map. So let us study the Earth in detail in the lesson Globe and Maps. In this lesson, you are going to study the globe and maps as good teaching learning aids for the better understanding of our Earth. The meaning and uses of the globe, the meaning, types and uses of maps, the important geographical symbols required for the presentation or preparation of maps and map reading. In the lesson, The Sky, you have studied about the shape and size of the Earth. The Earth is geoid in shape and it is represented by a globe. The photographs taken of the Earth from the satellites give a real shape of the Earth, but we can see only one side of the Earth. The globe, which is a model of the Earth, can give us the view of the other side also, since we can rotate the globe. The globe is a miniature model of the Earth. It is a true representation of the Earth's spherical shape and not flat as seen on the map. Besides, it gives us information about many features of the Earth, such as continents, oceans, countries, etc. It is a simple teaching learning aid. It can be kept on the table and rotated. It helps us to learn about different geographical concepts. Children, what is a globe? The globe is a miniature model of the Earth. I'll repeat, the globe is a miniature model of the Earth. The globe is useful to know the shape of the Earth. It helps us to understand the position, shape, and size of the continents and oceans. What are oceans and continents? Huge water bodies on the earth are called oceans, and large land masses on the earth are called continents. Children, how many oceans and continents are there on the earth? Shall we study about them now? Large land masses on the earth are called continents. There are 7 continents on the earth. They are Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Australia, and Antarctica. I'll repeat. You can also repeat along with me. The 7 continents on the earth are Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Australia, and Antarctica. Among these, the largest continent is Asia. The smallest is Australia. Which is the largest continent on the earth? Asia is the largest continent. Which is the smallest continent, children? Australia is the smallest continent on the earth. Huge water bodies on the earth are called oceans. There are 5 oceans on the earth. They are Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Arctic Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, and Southern Ocean or Antarctic Ocean. I'll repeat. 5 oceans on the earth are Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Arctic Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Southern Ocean, or Antarctic Ocean. Children, what do you do when your friend invites for a birthday or some other function and you don't know the exact location of your friend's house? Yes, immediately your father or mother will take their cell phone and search in Google for the direction or location of the place. Immediately, GPS or global positioning system will show the direction and route of the destination you want to reach. Do you know how actually this GPS works? Every house will have a house number and address. In the same manner, every city or locality will have a location number. As soon as you search the location of a place, GPS will search for the exact location of the place on the earth using a number or latitude and longitude. This is the latitude and longitude of the city Los Angeles. Latitude is 34.052234 and longitude is minus 118.243685. GPS actually worked through this latitudinal and longitudinal number. What are these latitudes and longitudes? Let us study about them now. You know that the earth rotates on its axis. What is this axis? Axis is an imaginary line that passes through 2 extreme points, that is, the North Pole and the South Pole. Along with axis, we can also observe a horizontal imaginary line and a vertical imaginary line on the globe. What is this horizontal imaginary line called? Horizontal imaginary line is called equator and the vertical imaginary line is prime meridian. The equator divides the earth into two equal parts horizontally, and the prime meridian divides the earth into two equal parts vertically. Hemispheres of the earth. The equator divides the earth into two equal parts horizontally, and the prime meridian divides the earth into two equal parts vertically. The part of the earth above the equator is called northern hemisphere, and the part of the earth below the equator is called southern hemisphere. The two vertical hemispheres are eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere. What are the four hemispheres of the earth? The four hemispheres of the earth are northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere. The area above the equator is northern hemisphere. The area below the equator is southern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere is called land hemisphere and southern hemisphere is called water hemisphere. Do you know why? Northern hemisphere is surrounded by 40% land and 60% water. Compared to southern hemisphere, land surface is more in the northern hemisphere. So, northern hemisphere is called land hemisphere. What about southern hemisphere? Southern hemisphere consists of 80% water and only 20% land. So, southern hemisphere is called water hemisphere. Northern hemisphere is called land hemisphere because it consists of 40% land and 60% water. Southern hemisphere is called water hemisphere because it consists of 80% water and only 20% land. Fine. You have understood about the hemispheres of the earth, and these hemispheres are formed by two major lines. They are the equator and the prime meridian. Equator divides the earth horizontally and the prime meridian divides the earth vertically. Along with equator and prime meridian, there are so many other lines or imaginary lines drawn on the surface of the earth. These imaginary lines are called latitudes and longitudes. I'll repeat, the imaginary lines on the surface of the earth are called latitudes and longitudes. And these latitudes and longitudes together form a network. And this network is called grid. What is grid? A network formed by latitudes and longitudes is called a grid. And with the help of this grid, we are able to locate any place on the earth. Latitudes. Horizontal imaginary lines are called latitudes or parallels. Latitudes are complete circles. Equator is the longest parallel which divides the earth into two equal halves horizontally. Observe these latitudes in the picture, children. Are these circles of same diameter? No, they are not same. The diameter of these latitudes keep decreasing when we move towards the poles. The reason is the shape of the earth. The earth is bulging at the equator and slightly flattened near the poles. So, the length of parallel keeps decreasing as we move towards the North Pole and the South Pole. Equator is at the center and it is the longest parallel. Now, let us understand about longitudes. Vertical imaginary lines are called longitudes or meridians. Longitudes run from pole to pole and are of same length. Prime meridian is the center of the longitudes, which divides the earth into two parts vertically. Children, I hope you are clear with the model of the earth and latitudes and longitudes. These latitudes and longitudes help us to locate any place on the earth. You have understood that latitudes are horizontal imaginary lines. Totally, there are 181 parallels or latitudes on the earth. Equator is the longest parallel and it is marked as 0 degree. There are 90 parallels above the equator and 90 below the equator. So totally 180 parallels. Including the equator, there are 181 parallels in all. Out of these, 5 parallels are very important and they are identified with different names. The 5 important parallels on the earth are equator at 0 degree, Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degree north, Tropic of Capricorn at 23.5 degree south, Arctic Circle at 66.5 degree north, Antarctic Circle at 66.5 degree south. North represent the northern hemisphere, south represent the southern hemisphere. North Pole at 90 degree north and South Pole at 90 degrees south. North Pole and South Pole are not parallels. These two are points. Let us recall once again. The 5 important parallels on the earth are equator at 0 degree, Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degree north, Tropic of Capricorn 23.5 degree south, Arctic Circle 66.5 degree north, Antarctic Circle 66.5 degree south. In this map, you can observe the 5 important parallels of the earth. Equator passes through northern part of South America and Africa, and Tropic of Cancer passes through North America, Africa, India and other countries, and Tropic of Capricorn passes through South America, Africa and Australia. In Arctic Circle, we can observe Canada, Russia and other countries, and continent of Antarctica entirely lies in the Antarctic Circle. The climate of a place depends upon these 5 zones of the earth. Equatorial region experience highest temperature and it is the hottest region. Tropical zone experience moderate temperature, that is neither very hot nor very cold. The region of Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle are called frigid zones and they are the coldest regions of the earth. Children, till now we have discussed the meaning and features of globe. Now let us understand the uses of globe. Globe is a very useful teaching learning aid or material. It is helpful to us in many ways. Using a globe, we can understand exact location of continents and oceans, their shape and size. We can locate continents and oceans on a map also. But map is a flat surface and it cannot be so accurate like a globe. On the globe, we can locate a continent accurately. It also helps us to understand various geographical features. The concept of latitudes and longitudes can be understood accurately, and these help us to locate any place on the earth. We can easily identify equator, prime meridian, and also the hemispheres of the earth. Since globe is a very useful teaching learning aid, it helps to understand the movements of the earth, rotation and revolution. We can perform various experiments using a globe based on movements. Let us recall once again. Globe is useful to know the shape and size of continents, oceans and seas. It helps to learn about different geographical concepts. Lines of latitudes and longitudes help to locate places on the earth. It helps to understand the movements of the earth, rotation and revolution. It gives general information about geographical features. Let us have a quick recap. The globe is a miniature model of the earth. The globe is a very useful aid to study the earth. Oceans are huge water bodies on the earth. Continents are large land masses on the earth. Latitudes and longitudes are the imaginary lines on the surface of the earth. The equator divides the earth into two equal parts horizontally, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. The prime meridian divides the earth into two equal parts vertically, eastern hemisphere and western hemisphere. The five important parallels of the earth are equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle. Children, here is an activity for you. Draw a circle and label the important parallels or latitudes of the earth. Today's assignment: define the following: globe, continent, axis and equator. Fill in the blanks. The earth is dash in shape. There are dash continents on the earth. The part of the earth above the equator is called dash hemisphere. The earth is surrounded by huge water bodies called dash. Fifth, the longitude which divides the earth into two equal parts vertically is dash. Third main, answer the following. Which is the longest parallel on the earth? Second, differentiate between latitudes and longitudes. Third, the northern hemisphere is called land hemisphere. Give reason. Fourth, explain the uses of globe. Hope you are able to answer these questions. Let us discuss the answers in the next class. Till then, keep learning. Thank you.